Hey.
What's up?
Alright. Oof, I'm ready. Are you?
Kind of. Now or never, right?
Always. Welcome to the Chi Talks. He says, she says. Detox the noise so ancient wisdom becomes real life. I'm your creator and co-host. I'm Dr. Michelle Han, Doctor of Acupuncture and Eastern Medicine, and...
I'm your other co-host, Jeff Chen.
Okay, I'm really excited for you guys to be here. This is our very first episode of hopefully, hundreds, right? Something different about us. There is no script. This is genuinely what we call real talk, right? Does that make you nervous?
Yes, it absolutely does.
Okay.
Also because I have no experience in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Not much experience in front of a mic. So
yeah.
I'm a total white belt right now.
Okay.
But I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys are all joining us for our very first conversation, our first episode. So thank you so much for being here. And we hope that you grow with us, right? Not just you, but us as well, and us as a community. Chi Talks is kind of my love letter to Chinese medicine. And I'm so tired of seeing little tips and tricks or trends of Chinese medicine, right? Get acupuncture, go get herbs, do this. But it's a lifestyle, right? So why should you be on this journey with us? Let me start there. I am a doctor of acupuncture and Eastern medicine. I have a bachelor's from Harvard University. I did my master's at Dongguk University. And I have my doctorate in acupuncture and Chinese medicine from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. It's a mouthful. And I'm currently finishing my second master's in psychology at Harvard University. For some of you who know me on social media, hi, it's me, your friendly neighborhood witch doctor. Sound familiar? So that's my credentials. Now, if you will, please.
That's a lot of credentials.
It is.
It's tough to follow that up. Maybe I should have went first with the credentials. But no, I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering from the University of Connecticut.
Okay.
Go Huskies. I had a quarter-life crisis and I left engineering and I moved to China to find a Kung Fu master.
Yeah.
And when I was in China, I watched a YouTube video about Chinese medicine that completely changed my life.
Okay.
Literally, at the end of the YouTube video, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. And I enrolled the very next semester. I stayed in China another 5 years. I had originally planned on staying 6 months to a year.
Dang.
And then I ended up staying 6 years total. And after I graduated, I came to New York, got licensed, but I found that my clinical skill really wasn't hitting the bill. So, yeah, no, seriously, I was like, I would be in clinic and patients would come in and they would come in with a XYZ problem. Yeah. And I found myself just kind of looking it up symptomatically, which is this is the opposite of what Chinese medicine is trying to do. So then I found an herbal program called ICEAM, the Institute of Classics for East Asian Medicine. And they're basically an herbalism program focused on classical herbal medicine.
Amazing.
And after that, my whole clinical game changed. And yeah, it's been a wild ride ever since.
That's exciting. So I am, for our new yin-yangs, do you like that? I'm
getting used to it.
Okay, our community here, we are now the yin-yangs, okay? I love you guys. I really like that we bring different perspectives. I've been on social media for a while and I put a lot of content about kind of my background and what I do. But for our new yin-yangs, I am a 4th generation acupuncturist. But technically I stem from a long, long line of them. So my father's side, every generation has served the royal family physicians of ancient Korea. So before they were split into North and South, I am the first female descendant, which is wild, right? The pressure is crazy.
Even more badass.
Yeah, but like, I love it. But aside from our like background, right? Have you ever had a life-changing experience with acupuncture or Eastern medicine that makes you say like, yes, this medicine works?
There was a teacher, I'm not going to shout him out just because, for legal purposes, but
okay.
And this is kind of a funny story because we're in China, right? International students, and we're thinking we are learning the top Chinese medicine right now. We're in Beijing, like the center of Chinese medicine in the whole world.
Yeah.
Ironically, we were not happy at all with the education. We can go into that story much later, but we weren't happy, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up inviting this this guy that lived in America, but he had spent like 25 years studying in China, studying the traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, herbal medicine.
Okay.
And we invited him to come teach us seminars outside of class. So this is on top of we're paying the tuition fee. We paid him to come teach us Chinese medicine. Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Very ironic.
Okay.
And he was teaching us acupuncture at the time, and he used this technique where it was called Shaoshanho, which stands for burning the mountain, and it's like a heavy tonifying qi technique, right? And as he was showing us, he was demonstrating on me in front of the class, right?
Okay.
And he was needling bladder 23, which is right around L2, right off to the side, right? And he's doing this technique, and he starts, and I'm like, okay, I feel the needle, but then he keeps doing the needle technique, and I start to feel heat grow, and it's growing, and it's growing, and it's growing. And after a while, like, my whole lower back started to heat up, but then I started to get movement like up and down my back channels, and at that point I was like, what the hell is going on? And I think that might have been my first experience with qi from like an acupuncture perspective. So that stands out in my head in particular.
That's good. That's good.
What about you?
Mine was not as nice. Mine's quite traumatic.
Of course, because we're like young.
Yeah. So
of course it is.
Okay. Being from a lineage of acupuncturists, I've grown up with it, right? When I was 6, I was making herb formulas because I've memorized the Chinese herbs, and I saw what my parents were doing. But my first actual experience being on the other side of that as a patient, I don't wish on anybody. But when I say I am living, walking proof, I mean that in the literal sense. So it was April 2005. I was a freshman in high school.
2005, freshman in high school. Okay.
So freshman in high school. And it was the Friday of spring break. School let out. And like every good Asian back in the 90s and 2000s, I played an instrument. I played the cello. Of course.
I played violin.
Yeah. I overcompensating because I'm 5'2", but I played the cello. And my parents...
Of course you played cello.
Yeah.
Violin, cello.
Yeah.
Yin yang.
So my mom was driving, and yes, she's a stereotypical bad Asian driver in the sense that she always wanted to drive 5-10 miles below the speed limit. Well, 1996 little red Toyota Corolla, and shout out to Toyota because the car was destroyed at the end of this. We were getting onto the highway because I was going to a cello recital. 18-wheeler comes tearing down the highway and clips the front of the car, and we get sandwiched under that, and we get dragged behind this 18-wheeler for about 6 exits. And we hit...
What the fuck? 6 exits?
6 exits. He didn't see us. And so people were honking, they were flagging him down, and finally when he stopped, our car had been mashed up underneath the truck, but against the divider. And the doors had been welded by all the impact. And so they had to use jaws of life, literally. It was like a movie. They had to like burn the door off. My older brother was sitting in the front seat, and he had just a rip on his t-shirt. No other like scratches or scars.
Brother's the chosen one, eh?
Yeah. My little brother, because he was lying in the back seat, I covered him like this. I was thrown around the car, but he has a scar to this day on his forehead where the broken glass was. I was not so lucky. So the police were like, come on out, sweetheart. And I was like, yeah. And then I flopped over. And I was like, why are you guys lying down? And they're like, oh my God, she has brain damage. And like, I'm listening to them. Mm-hmm. And so they come and they check. And they're like, sweetheart, I need you to move your legs. And I'm like, I am. And they were like, no. Just like, push your legs out. I said, I am. And, you know, have you seen Kill Bill?
Yes, of course.
You know that scene where Uma Thurman is like, wiggle, and she's like commanding her toes?
Yes.
I was doing that because I was like, what do you mean my legs aren't moving? And me, being the stubborn, pig-headed little Asian that I am, I'm like, don't touch me, I can do this. And I'm just literally lying like this in the back of the car, and they put me on a stretcher, put on like a neck brace, and I remember this really sweet officer putting his shades on me because the sun was pelting down. Mm-hmm. And his partner goes, oh my God, is she dead? He goes, no, it's the sun, dumbass.
Oh my God.
And I'm
some Weekend at Bernie shit.
But I'm like, I'm having an out-of-body experience because I'm like still not connecting to the fact that my legs are not working. So I get airlifted to Grady Hospital. Mind you, I am a freshman in high school, right? Mm-hmm. And it is the first day of my fucking first spring break. And I get there.
Spring break.
And this doctor walks in and he goes, yeah, it's Friday, so none of the PTs are going to be available, but come Monday we'll fit you with a wheelchair and maybe we'll start rehab. And walks out the door. And I just sit there, I'm like,
what?
I think he was speaking a different language. What do you mean? And my parents were like, wait, what? And grabbed the doctor, and the doctor goes, yeah, sweetheart, you're paralyzed from the waist down. And my mom and dad, they're very Christian. They started praying, and then they come back and they go, yeah, we're not doing this. And so against all better judgment, like the hospital legal team came, everybody came, like my dad's friends were trying to talk him out of it. And he looks the doctor in the eye and he goes, if this is what's to happen, we're going to try everything. Because what's the worst? What could we lose?
Yeah, you're already worst case, right? With the hospital. Okay.
So they take me home, and my dad is one of the best acupuncturists of his like generation, right? And for every day they did acupuncture. They did electrical acupuncture, very traditional styles. And
do you remember which points? Where?
No, because I actually ended up asking my parents to kill me. Because the pain was so excruciating.
Oh my God.
So my dad had a friend who was an engineer. And he had made my dad an electric stim, like acupuncture box. It was like a machine. It's not like the little baby TENS machines you see on the market anymore. But I remember waking up one day and my dad was like, time to do acupuncture. And I'd given up, right? It was like Saturday or Sunday. It was like 2 days after. And I'm like, you've been doing acupuncture for 8-9 hours. There's nothing that's going to happen. And I felt like somebody lit me on fire. And I was like, wait, stop. I was like, that hurts. And my dad was like, what? And I said, that hurts. And he goes, good. And then the next thing you know, if you've ever been burned, right? Imagine somebody taking a blowtorch to every centimeter of your body and just blowing this entire blowtorch on you and setting you on fire at the same time. I was sweating, I was crying, I was in and out of pain, and I was screaming and asking my parents to kill me because it was so painful. Tuesday rolls around, and every time my dad sticks me with an acupuncture needle, I start crying because I'm like, I can't do this again, I can't do this again. 3 times a day for 7 days. I did acupuncture, I did electric acupuncture. Come Monday, I went to school with a doctor's note saying that I was excused from any and every physical education activity for 6 months because my legs were not strong enough. But, so you can see.
Dude, are you like a superhero? If that's
No,
your
my
origin
parents
story?
are. Yeah, like my parents were, right?
Yeah.
You can call it spiritual, you can call it whatever you want to, right?
Yeah, your dad's a gangster, man.
Oh, I've got more stories. I've got more stories.
Dope. Yeah.
But, yeah, so that was my first time with, like, oh shit, this medicine works. Come
awesome.
hell or high water, I will always stand by Chinese medicine doing what it needs to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's. Yeah.
I mean that a lot of Chinese medicine practitioners, that's how they got into it. They had a miracle healing. I never had that.
Yeah.
I guess maybe fortunately.
Yeah, fortunately.
Unfortunately, but yeah, that's a really crazy story. Do you feel like your life can almost be split into like before the accident, after the accident? Was there like a major psychological, emotional shift? Did you you know how people have like near-death experiences and then their shit has just changed forever? Anything close to that?
I wish I could say yes and like give you this entire story, but like no, I was such a shithead. I was just like, oh my god, thank God I'm not in a wheelchair, like, because I wouldn't know how to handle that, like, psychologically. So I was just like, I completely disregarded the magic of acupuncture. I disregarded that my parents had done this. I disregarded the fact that I was almost going to have my life completely changed, right? And being a freshman in high school, I was a ding-dong. Like, I didn't think about life.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I going to wear to prom? What am I going to do for all this?
High
and
school
so,
shit. Yeah.
But, like, I never wanted to do acupuncture. Even with this experience, I actually was dragged to acupuncture school. My dad forced me to go to do my master's. And he was like, it's only 3 years. Your brothers don't want to do it, so we've only got one choice, and that's you. Which meant I didn't have a choice. My before and after story is my second semester of acupuncture school. Something just clicked. And I literally, I can't explain it. Otherwise, it's so stupid, so cliche. But like, I was sitting in Dr. Chan's class, and something just, and I was like, holy shit. And it was like, oh, and like everything started to make sense for me.
Do you remember? What subject would he talk about? Was it an acupuncture class? Was it a theory class?
No, it was acupuncture.
Do you think it was the class material, or do you think something else externally, or do you think culmination of several things?
So, to be honest, I was not a good student. I hated being there. I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was like, I just have to get through this program, get my stupid degree, and then I can do what I want to do. I was 22.
22.
Yeah, 23, I think. Okay. But I was like, I'm still younger. Let me just get this out of the way, keep my parents happy, you know, being a good little Asian. But then I was like, just doing the motions, and because I'd already grown up with it, I was acing exams. I wasn't really retaining anything. And so sitting in this class, sitting in this class, it wasn't like a voice of God came through. It was just something in that moment. It was just a stupid thing, and it was just like, oh my God. And I don't remember anything leading up to it, but after that, I shifted. I was like, this shit makes sense. And like, I wanted to do it. I wanted to be a part of it. And then I was actually really good at it. And maybe it's the lineage or the legacy, like it's in my blood, or it's that inherent, I always knew that this was where I would end up. But the trifecta, the perfect storm, everything, it just kind of came together. And so I started really falling in love with it, or following all the paths because I fell in love with it, right? But our school had this unique opportunity. We had a partnership with USC, the University of Southern California, and I was chosen to do an externship. And I started working with the football team, and that's when I started realizing I was really good at pain management, at sports med, and like
USC
ortho.
Football team is a big deal.
They were at the peak, and
those guys
I don't know football.
Yeah.
But that's when I started to realize that these injuries were tied to stress levels. So
Yes.
I love to say this, but I'm shameless plug for myself. I am what people call the mother of psychology acupuncture. I have created and innovated a space within acupuncture for the mental health part. So psychology being the study of, the brain. It's not actual psychology as we know it for Western medicine, but I work with your Shen, the spirit. And it's the psychosomatic piece, so mind-body connection. And that's really where I started to see that. Anytime it was draft season or agents were coming by, these students were getting more hurt or they were staying hurt. So I started to find that correlation, and that's when I found my groove. I was like, I actually struggled a lot with like the mental health portion being such a stigma within the Asian community that I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. And I think that's what pushed me to really delve deeper into the medicine, and I haven't looked back, right?
That's incredible. So you've been doing acupuncture since 22, 21, 22?
Yeah, so I've been licensed for 13 years.
Okay.
Which, oh my God, makes me sound really fucking old, doesn't it? But yeah, so I love it, but I started moving away from acupuncture as my main message to Chinese medicine as a lifestyle.
Yep.
So our yin yangs, I don't think you guys know this yet, but I've actually asked Jeff to be my Sifu, Shifu, I'm Korean, obviously, don't know how to say it, but my Tai Chi and Kung Fu master, because I am not good at protecting my chi. So before I go into the specifics of that, do you mind sharing a little bit about Tai Chi and Kung Fu and that journey of your life?
Yeah. So the journey started when I was a kid. Basically, anytime Bruce Lee was on TV, glued to the TV, right? Comic books, X-Men, X-Factor, all the classic comic books. I would read them and be obsessed, right? I would literally be in class and I would be daydreaming. I'm like, what if Wolverine pops through that door and I have to fight him right now, right? So that's the kind of stuff that was going through my head, right?
Yeah.
So at, I think around 14, 15, I was at Chinese school. And there was a Kung Fu teacher there. And I started practicing with him. And I just fell in love with it. I dropped all the sports I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to do Kung Fu from now on.
Okay.
Right, so that started in my teens. And then I get to college, and college was just a shit show. I didn't do any Kung Fu. I didn't study. It was just one long binge, right? Graduate college, I'm working as an engineer, and I felt kind of lost. And it was actually martial arts. And at that time, I had taken up cigarettes. I was I was not leading a very healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, you were a bad kid.
Yeah, it was not good. That's all the fire, all the yang that,
Yeah, let's blame the element.
It's not my fault, man.
Okay.
But where was I after?
You're doing all the cigarettes and the bad things.
Yeah. So I restarted martial arts, and martial arts was what got me off the cigarettes. I was like, I love martial arts so much that I'm gonna give up cigarettes because this is interfering, right? And I really love cigarettes, man. I really love cigarettes.
Okay, we're not condoning cigarettes.
Yeah, don't smoke
yangs,
cigarettes.
Okay, we're not. This is not like a shameless.
Yeah.
We're telling you, don't do it.
Yeah. So I restart martial arts, right? And at that time, I was like, I want to practice all the martial arts I can find. So at that time, MMA was just starting to blow up. Pride was big, the early days of UFC. So there weren't a lot of MMA gyms around, but I found one, and I ended up training MMA for a good 4 years or so. Yeah. And then at some point during the MMA journey, I was like, there's something missing. I don't know what it is, but there's something missing. So then I started practicing a Kung Fu style called Bagua, right? And then when I was there, I met a classmate, and that's when we decided to go to China. It was me and him together. It was my Bagua classmate, right?
Okay.
So shout out to my guy.
Not naming names.
Not naming names. So we go to Beijing, right? And we're on this quest to find a Kung Fu master. And we study We found a Tai Chi master at some point who was pretty good, but he was all about the money, so we all left.
Gotcha.
And then I found another Bagua teacher. I trained with him for a few years, but I didn't find the holy grail of martial arts until I met my current master. And the way I met him was completely random, because at that time, when we were searching for Kung Fu masters, it was us like searching and finding and going to these masters. Yeah. But this time, my classmate was training with, so technically it was his Kung Fu uncle, right? He was training with his uncle.
Okay.
And then he was telling me about him, and we would train all the time together, but I hadn't met his uncle yet. And then finally, at some point, he takes me to meet his Kung Fu uncle, who is a Tai Chi master.
You made it.
And the first meeting with this guy it's like so vivid in my memory. So the way it goes is I go to this master's house, and he's like really, really nice. He's like smiling. He greets me really warmly. And then he goes, I bet you don't think Tai Chi works. Do whatever you want. And in my head, I'm like, what do you mean do whatever I want? I'm like, I'm not gonna swing at this guy just like completely randomly. So I don't know what to do. So I start to like gently like wrestle with him, just, putting some pressure on his body, see what happens. And then I very quickly realized that whatever I'm doing is not affecting him at all. Like the more pressure I put on him, the more I'm taking my own balance. Right? So then I'm like, okay, this guy actually, like whatever I'm doing, it's not gonna hurt him. It's not dangerous. So I'm just gonna go all out. So at some point, I'm just trying to like literally double leg him, single leg, trying to like football tackle him. And he's just laughing the whole time, completely relaxed. He's not struggling to like, defend me. No, he's just moving his body tiny millimeters at a time and deflecting my force so that it all rebounds back into me. And that experience just changed my perspective on martial arts, because they say in the Tai Chi classics you have to be relaxed. You have to, like, you move 1,000 pounds with 4 ounces of force. Like, it sounds nice in the classics, but when it comes down to someone actually doing it, it's like I hadn't experienced it yet. But that was the first time. So after that experience, I was like, I found it. I found the holy grail of martial arts. Yeah, the problem with that is that to get that kind of skill, I had to relearn everything I thought I knew about my body, what I thought I knew about martial arts. I had so many bad habits ingrained into my body. It was really a long process to unlearn these things and strip it all back down to bare bones. And I think it's still a process that's like continuing to this day. But yeah, ever since then, I've just been climbing the Tai Chi mountain, and it's a long climb, and there's so much that goes into the practice of Tai Chi, and it goes against what we naturally do as human beings. We like to resist. We like to fight back. We like to feel like we need to do something about the situation and take control. Tai Chi is like, no, you have to relax, number one. You have to stay in your own center. And from there, then you can decide what to do. So it's really about like rewiring your nervous system too. Can you undo this natural inclination to fight force with force? So that process, it just takes a long ass time, man. Like to rewire your nervous system, it takes so long. But yeah, it's such a rewarding journey, and I can't wait to see you suffer in the horse stance. Can't wait.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I'm ready. I've always been, my dad actually practiced the Bagua style. So when you were doing certain movements, I was like, oh my God, because like the body remembers, right? Yeah. And already I was like, shit, I'm in for a world of pain. So like I know viscerally but like I don't think I'm like registering on a mental level of the extreme levels of throwing up pain that I had as my legs were shaking to do the horsey
Well,
stand.
I'm in it with you, man. I'm gonna be doing the stances with you. So it's a time. It's a time to take it back to basics, and the foundation of all things Chinese is really how strong is your basics, how strong is your foundation.
Yeah.
And I think what makes my master so good is that his foundation is just insane, right? Because all the cool stuff, none of that works if you don't have foundation, right? But if you have the foundation and you actually never really learn the cool stuff, honestly, it doesn't really matter that much because the cool stuff will kind of just create itself based on your foundation. But it's like it doesn't satisfy people's like eagerness to learn cool stuff and to look cool and what's this new thing. Yeah, it's the complete opposite of that.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I think the overlap though, and I think that's why I was really excited to start this with you, right? I think everything is yin and yang. Everything is a balance. Up, down, left, right, whatever it is. But I focus predominantly with needles. Mm-hmm. You're very much an herbs guy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am energetics with like the internal aspects, and you're fully body, right? Tai Chi, Qigong. But even within that, if you know, for our yin yangs, the yin yang actually has a little bit of yin inside of the yang, and vice versa. So the overlap between what you're mentioning with Tai Chi, Qigong, and also Chinese medicine as a whole, everything is so interrelated, right? Mm-hmm. The foundations are what matters. And everything else that comes with it is just cool stuff. Mm-hmm. But we need to do the foundations if I want to learn how to do spinning star kicks and all that other stuff. But it's the same thing with Chinese medicine. If you don't really understand the basics, the theory of how the elements work, qi, yin, yang, blood, the flow, the other stuff doesn't really make sense and it won't work, right?
Yeah, totally.
So that's exciting. I'm really excited. I actually wanted to ask you on a personal level. Mm-hmm. I know why I started the podcast idea, but when I asked you to join, why did you say yes?
A few reasons.
Okay.
Number one, it made me uncomfortable to think about presenting myself to the world.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
There's fear of judgment. There's fear of, I guess, ridicule. Fear of looking like an idiot too. But also, I know I have to get past those insecurities to really spread what I think is an amazing message of Chinese medicine and how it can help society in general, right? So that's number one, just like a big growth opportunity. Yeah. And number two, I think back to my story of when I watched that YouTube video, right? And that guy, and a really funny story about that guy, which I'll tell later. But you know, he's talking about Chinese medicine, and he changed my life. Yeah. Describing it, and I thought, like, wouldn't it be really cool if we're doing this podcast and someone else out there sees it, and he's like, gets into acupuncture, gets into herbs, starts doing qigong, starts doing tai chi, or anything. He just learns about yin and yang and doesn't even necessarily have to be Chinese medicine, but he starts on like a Taoist journey, because we're going to be talking about Lao Tzu and all that stuff too. Yeah. So I think it's important that, you know, I think we're studying things that can really help people, and they can change people's lives. So I hope, you know, we can, whoever's out there, if you're listening to this and something is like sparking, like run with it and see where it goes. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this, but it's not whoever, but it's you right there. You know, you felt something right tickling your heart, right? We found you.
Something opening, some flash of inspiration. And where it leads, man. Yeah, this is. Yeah, and when I started doing this, I didn't know this was a good career opportunity. I didn't know that, insurance companies take acupuncture or they cover acupuncture.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just like, oh, this is cool as shit. I'm going to study Chinese medicine. Just so happens that also it's the best job ever, right?
Yeah.
You know, you get a chance to make your own business and set your hours, and obviously with the advent of AI and like a skill you can have with your hands, there's so many pluses that I didn't realize came with it, but I'm just like so happy I'm in this field right now. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I feel like there is so much more to Chinese medicine than just acupuncture and herbs, though. And I think that's where the big part of the disconnect is, especially within like Western society, because in Asia, it's a way of life.
Mm-hmm.
But here, we've reduced it down to get acupuncture, get herbs.
Mm-hmm.
But Chinese medicine is not something you do, it's the way you live, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see the small shifts, right? I don't ask for big things because I think adjustments in life are micro. It's the small things you do, right? And teaching what I know, and blessedly so, whether it's fair or unfair, I was born into this lineage. And so I have thousands and thousands of years worth of case studies and knowledge and experience that I do not take lightly. I don't take for granted. But also, what's the point of gatekeeping? Like, when I'm done practicing, I don't want the medicine to end, right?
Yeah.
I want everyone to take a piece of it. And my biggest thing, even for all of the yin-yangs right now, but for myself as well, it's take what you will and leave what you won't. Not everything is for each person, right? So it's like, even if it resonates with you, you have to take it and make it your own. You don't just copy paste because your life is different from my life, is different from your life. And so this whole conversation, right? This whole podcast of genuine real talk, it's something that we invite you to join the conversation. It's to be a part of this, right? I don't dare to lecture anybody. It's rich coming from me as I'm teaching and I'm a professor of it, but I don't take that lightly, right? I want to share my knowledge. I want to share my experience. But if you are a student in my class, the reviews are true. I'm a hard ass. I want you to learn your shit so that you can teach other people how to do it, and you do it right.
Yeah, come correct, man.
Right.
Yeah, you're representing Chinese medicine.
Yes. But I also like to say you represent Chinese medicine, but Chinese medicine also represents you, right? If you don't... Guys, I'm drinking iced coffee, and I know if you're on TikTok, it's like, oh, the TCM baddie lifestyle, iced everything is bad.
Well, I'm drinking dairy, so...
Right, but like it's not, right? Not everybody needs to be drinking hot water with, tatsao or jujubes or whatever you want to call it. It's different for every person. But again, if you live the lifestyle, it's all about balance. How do I balance drinking iced coffee in the morning to make it a holistic? You shouldn't be depriving yourself of what makes you happy. I'm not telling you to go drink handles of liquor and like do illegal drugs, right? But I'm saying if a cup of iced coffee or a cup of iced matcha, iced water makes you happy, what can I do to balance that? Because everything is a balance, right? And we want to be happy. And how do we stay happy and healthy at the same time? And I think that's where we lose the message when you have these people saying, oh, TCM says don't drink iced. Well, why are you doing ice baths and not drinking iced coffee? I'd rather drink iced coffee and not do the ice bath, right? So it's like there is a balance to certain things. And this is a place where you're safe to express that. And we're not for everybody. Like, I'm not saying if you want to learn Chinese medicine, we're the only ones to do it. I just want to make it very clear. We are one and two of these certified TCM baddies in licensure. and certification. There's so many people who are licensed and credentialed to give you sound advice for Chinese medicine, right? Not everything you see on the internet is real. I know, I had to say it. Your favorite influencer...
Keep going.
You know, your favorite influencer talking about Chinese medicine tips and tricks, it works for that person, but it should never be taken out of context because Chinese medicine is not one size fits all, right? You can be the same height, same weight, same shape. Even twins coming to me for the same exact problem will be treated very differently because of the lifestyles that they live, but also the historical journey that their body has been on. So, again, take what you will, leave what you won't, but this is such a different way of thinking and a way of life that you shouldn't pigeonhole yourself into, oh, I saw this on the internet. Make it fit for you. That's kind of like the message, right?
Absolutely. And we're gonna, I think the more we talk and the more episodes we release, you know, the foundation is yin and yang. Yeah. So I think the more we explore it and the more people start to understand it, the more they can see how that fits into their own life and how their own circumstances, they can gain a little more clarity on what that means. And for Chinese medicine, also Tai Chi, like yin and yang is the foundation. So without understanding yin and yang, you could say you don't understand Tai Chi or you don't understand Chinese medicine. So I think it's really important to get that idea across to our listeners, is that we want to talk about a framework and give you guys some tools that, you know, you can use to help understand what you need specifically for your situation.
I think it's worth mentioning that, you know, everything has a place, everything has a time in your journey, right? So this isn't meant to give you an existential crisis of who am I, where am I, what should I be doing? But it's more a guide to help you figure out where you are and who you are, right? I think we've created this illusion within society that there's an expectation of what you should be and what you should be living, how you should be living. But at least within this space, you're free to be you. You're free to be questioning. You're free to not have all the answers all the time, because we're human, right? If ChatGPT and AI are getting things wrong all the time, how are we as humans supposed to know everything correctly all the time, right? We're always evolving. We're always learning. But I do have a little bit of a, like, devil's advocate to play. When I was starting Chinese medicine, I felt like I had to be this, like, Yoda, right? Always spouting the greater good, only doing the good things, so stop drinking, stop partying, live a good life. But it's not, right? What is one thing, and I have, like, a list of, like, 1,000, but what is one pet peeve that you have about maybe a misinformation, disinformation, or a trend that's going around in Chinese medicine that you really want to set the record straight for you?
Pet peeve, trends in Chinese medicine. Well, I mean, a lot of people say don't eat raw stuff, which I think for many cases is true, but it's not true for all cases, right? I think understanding the nature of raw foods, you'll understand that actually it's good for some people. Some people need the cooling and the detoxing effect of something raw. So it's just to point out that there's nothing absolute in Chinese medicine. If anyone ever says anything is bad, period, it's wrong. It should be bad in the context of something.
Okay, this is within, like, logical reasonings. We're not telling you, again, to, like, go smash handles of liquor. That's bad. Like, moderation. Period.
Okay.
Right? And, like, we're not telling you to go do illegal, illicit drugs. Period.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
clarification.
So just don't
Yes.
run wild with this, but this is within
Yeah.
the context of like moderation
Yes,
within
yes.
legal frameworks of like what you're
Yes.
allowed and not allowed to do.
Yes,
So
yes,
for
yes,
all of
yes.
my legal birds out there, I'm setting the record straight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I saved your
Harvard
life.
education right there, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, girls gotta do
Yeah.
what a girl's gotta do.
But yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, they say in Chinese medicine that nothing is absolute, everything is relative.
Correct.
And I found this to be a truth that I live by.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
What about you? I'm sure you've got many pet peeves.
I do actually, but I boil it down to know where to get your information.
Okay.
I think a lot of people mean well when they share information that they've gotten from their own acupuncturist or their Chinese medicine doctors, but everything again is in varying shades. So what's right for this one person may not be right for you or for other people because you don't have the same history. Like for instance, do you have a surgery? Have you had a birth? Have you been pregnant? Have you had an illness? Those are all just a few of the thousands of questions we could ask that would change the trajectory of your treatment protocol. So what's worked for an influencer with millions of followers will not always work for everyone, right? So now that you know Jeff and you know me, we'll leave our Instagram handles or whatever easiest way to contact us, but reach out and ask us, right? Most of the time I get a question of like, I don't know who to ask, I don't know where to go, right? There's a lot of quacks out there, and I will say that, like, when you're early in your career, you don't know where to go, but also if you're on the other side of that, it's even harder to find somebody, right?
For sure.
So I'm giving you an open invite to all of our yin-yangs that you can reach out to me personally, directly, and do I have your permission to give them?
Of course,
yes.
absolutely.
So
please, I love hearing from
right?
Yeah.
And it's also part of why we opened this conversation. We want to be a voice of reason in places of confusion, right? So if you have a question or you're like, hey, I'm in this city, do you potentially have somebody? Yeah, most likely I have connections. You have connections that we would be able to point you in the directions that would be able to be right for you, right? So don't be shy. Reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking and stuff so that we can start to put a filter on the bad information or the misfitting information, right?
Yeah.
We're very different. So that's my thing. What I'd like to do though is I want to just add our Instagram handles, and we'll do that. So you can check the captions, you can check the links that we're going to leave on there. But I'm really excited and really humbled to have you guys be a part of this. We're human, and we're going to make... Yeah, unfortunately, right? But we're going to make mistakes. We're going to flub. We're going to say things that might not be the most glossy, politically correct. But you are our safe space, and we want to be yours as well. So for the absolute, genuine real talk, again, unscripted as you can tell, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of this.
Yeah.
So
That was really well said.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, half the reason we're doing this is for you guys, right? So, you know, we would love to hear any feedback, positive or negative.
Yeah.
Throw some negative stuff. I need to build like an armor, so just say some
Only
shit.
at him though.
Yeah. Until I build my armor, and then just stop doing it, please. Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for joining our first conversation. Mwah. We love you guys. Thank you, Yin Yangs.
That's the Chi Talks. Keep detoxing and let your body do what it do.